Hello there, welcome to Clinton Virtual Academy. Today our topic for discussion is materials, and since this topic is kind of huge and broad, it has been divided into two parts. The first part is going to be talking about the general properties of metals. So basically this is the first lesson on materials, and I'm going to be talking about metals throughout. We'll talk about something else in the second lesson. All right. So all the objects we see around us are made from different types of materials. Okay, some of the materials are wood, some are metal, others are leather, plastic, cotton, etc. Now we can mention some objects that are made from these materials, can't we? No, we know that different kinds of materials are used to make certain objects because of their properties, okay, because of maybe how strong they are, how shiny they look, how colorful they are, how strong they are. Okay, those are the properties we are talking about. Okay, so for example, plastics are used for making bottles, bowls, and plates. This is because plastics are easy to melt and can be molded in different shapes. Okay, so basically the property of plastic that allows it to be used in making the bowls and the plates is because it can easily be melted and can be molded into different shapes. Okay, now when it comes to metals, they are used to make objects such as cars, cooking pans, roofing sheets, iron nails, pins, and then connecting wires. Now, do you know why metals are used for making these things? Let's look at why. So we shall learn more about metals and their general properties in this lesson, right? All materials can be classified into two groups. All materials can be classified into two groups. These groups are metals and then what? Non-metals. These groups are metals and then non-metals. Let's take a look first of all at what metal is. So we are saying that metals are materials that are solid, strong, and have a shiny surface when new. So if you look at the cooking pot in your shot, you can see that it is very shiny because what? It is new. That is one property of what? Metal. When it is new, it is very shiny. Okay. Now let's some common examples of metals that we see around us is gold, silver, aluminium, lead, copper, zinc, and then iron. They are all examples of um, metal that we see around us. So all these metals, what are they used for? They are used for cooking pans, like you can see in the image, nails, spoons, bowls, and then farm tools. They are all examples of items produced out of metals. Okay. Now let's look at properties of metals. The first property of metal is that they are strong and hard. They are strong and hard. Now if you take this key, if you take this key, see I'm holding a key in my hand. I'm holding a key. I'm going to try to break it. Okay, I'm trying to break this key. It is impossible for me to use my hand to break this key. Why? Because it is strong and hard. Okay, it is strong and hard, so I can't simply break it with my bare hands. I cannot break it with my bare hands. Okay, so metals are strong and hard. They cannot be broken easily into smaller pieces. Only a few metals are what? Soft. Only a few are soft, but generally metals are hard and strong. Now the second property is that metals have shiny surfaces. Metals have shiny surfaces. So if you look at the image there, you can see that the metal in the picture is very shiny, right? It is very shiny, and their surfaces reflect light. The glades of light on metals are called luster. They are called luster. The third property of metal is that metals are ductile. Metals are ductile. When we say metals are ductile, it means that they can be stretched or pulled out or be made into any shape, okay, different shape, right? So examples of metals that are ductile include aluminium, copper, gold, and silver. They are examples of metals that are ductile. Metals are also good conductors of heat and electricity. This because of this property, metals are used in making the electrical cables that we see around us. Okay, they are also used in making cooking pots because they are good conductors of heat and electricity. Metals are also malleable. Metals are also malleable. This means that metals can be beaten or hammered into various shapes, even like including sheets, without breaking them. Can be hammered or beaten into different shapes without breaking them. Now let's look at non-metals. Any material that is not a metal is a non-metal, right? So non-metals are materials that have dull surfaces and can easily be broken. Can easily be broken. Some examples of objects that are made from non-metals are plastic cups, glass cups, wood, books, pencil, and football. The examples of examples of objects made from non-metals. Now let's look at the properties of non-metals. So non-metals do not allow heat and electricity to pass through them, unlike the metals. They are they have dull surfaces. Non-metals such as plastic break easily when a little force is applied onto them. They also make low-pitched sound when hit with other objects. Non-metals also do not rust. Unlike metals that rust, non-metals do not rust. Now let's look at the difference between metals and then non-metals. Difference between metals and non-metals. So whilst metals are good conductors of heat and electricity, non-metals are bad conductors. Right? Metals are ductile, non-metals are not ductile. Metals are malleable, non-metals are not malleable. Metals have shiny surfaces, non-metals have dull surfaces. Okay, so it's like whatever the metal is good at, the non-metal is bad at it. Okay, so if the metal is good at one thing, non-metal is not good at that thing. So take note of that. Now let's look at making simple machines. We can make simple machines or tools from metals. This is because metals are strong and then they are hard and easy to shape. Some examples of tools we use in our homes and schools, such as the cutlass, our hoes, our scissors, our knives, are all examples of items made from metals. They are all examples of items made from metals. So let's look at the uses of metal in our everyday life. Use of metal in our everyday life. So gold, for example, can be used in making things like necklace, jewelry, because it is very expensive and shiny and it does not rust. It does not rust. So mostly it's used in making ornaments and jewelries, right? It is mostly used in making ornaments and jewelries because it doesn't do what? Doesn't rust, right? When you look at copper, it is a metal that is ductile. Okay, it's a metal that is ductile. Like I said earlier, because of that, it is used in making electrical cables. The wires that are used in wiring our houses, our school, the wires that we see even outside on those electric poles, they are copper is used in making some of those wires, right? Apart from the electric cable, it is also used in making jewelries, coins, because it does not rust easily. Okay, now when we look at iron, it is also hard and strong, and it is mainly used to construct bridges and railways because of its hard and strong property, right? So iron is also used in making tools such as the nails, agricultural tools, bolts and nuts, right? Both construction and building materials, some building materials are also made from iron. Okay, now zinc. Zinc is a metal that does not easily rust. This is why it is usually used to coat iron sheets and iron buckets in order to protect them from rusting. Zinc is also used in making some portions of batteries. So be it car battery or the smaller batteries you use at home, there is a portion of it that is made from zinc. Silver is also a precious metal who does not rust easily and is mostly used to make jewelries and then what? Cutleries. Now, aluminium is also a good conductor of heat. So it is the reason why it is used in making cooking pans. So aluminium is a good conductor of heat. That is why it is used in making cooking pots. Okay, so we've come to the end of our lesson, and I hope you have learned something because we have talked about a lot. We have talked about metals, we've talked about non-metals, we've given examples of metals, and we've talked about the properties of metals and properties of non-metals. We have also discussed the differences between metals and non-metals. Okay, so this is the end of the first lesson on materials. I'm going to bring you the second lesson pretty shortly, so do stay with me. All right.